Grass types are pretty common in the world of Pokemon, and they're actually pretty cool. There's a lot to choose, and a lot of them are super fun to use in nuzlocks. But yeah, I wanted to do a shiny run in this game, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I was gonna do dragon shinies only. However, I don't know if there's a dragon that is lower than level 15 to use at the cap. Because of course this has to be a hardcore nuzlocke to completely shatter me when I lose a shiny. Or if we lose a shiny. As we saw in one of my previous videos, if a Spitops can beat Kita, why can't grass types? Or any Pokemon for that matter. I think a Kricketune could probably do it too. Especially if they're shiny. I will be trying to use the mass outbreak method for most of these little guys, as you shouldn't let that determine how rare a shiny is to you. And also, I don't have all the time in the world, but I still want to do this challenge. Unless you subscribe so I can do this full time. Then maybe I think of doing it full odds. Okay, maybe not. I'm not that patient. But still, this did take some time to make, so you should still subscribe anyways. Let's see what amazing shinies we can come across, and hopefully we don't lose them all. Now, we can't get Sprigatito since it is shiny locked, and I think I would have picked Quaxly to make Nemona halfway Coco to make this harder, but like I said, I was gonna do dragon shinies, and this will all make sense in a second. Well, you can come with me for now. Kraton, you're not a grass type or a shiny, but you can come with us. Okay, like I said, this was going to be a dragon shiny video, but I was trying to see if Applin could spawn in these trees, and while running, I found this. Okay, I know it doesn't look like a shiny, but trust me, it's a shiny. Like, I was like, okay, something's off about this Sunkern. It's definitely a different color. Now, I was still determined at this point to do a dragon run, so I kept looking, and I kid you not, 5 minutes later, I found this little gal. 5 minutes, that's not a joke. The game was just telling me to do a different typing. So anyways, I headed off without fighting Nemona to see if we could find a low-level dragon, and yeah, I ended up finding another shiny. That was probably an hour and a half in between. I gave up. I might as well save time and do one of the other challenges, so that's when I settled on Sunkern and grass types. Fun fact, I've actually never done a grass type run in my life, so this should be interesting. By the way, I am on an emulator, so let me know if you want to see me do normal shinies or bug flying shinies only, since I have the Vivian and the Dunsparce now. I can essentially just use this save file for those typings as well to not waste time. But if you guys want me to full odds hunt a different typing, then I'll do that. Doesn't have to be that. But yeah, I named this one Vish. If you want a shiny named after you, definitely comment what's your favorite grass shiny. Sunkern shiny may be subtle, but I love it. Also, watch how she jumps around with me. Now, our first fight would be with Nemona at the gate, and this was scaring me because as much as I love Sunkern, this Pokemon is straight dog. But yeah, honestly, her Sprigatito was more trouble than her Terrastalized Palmy. Just look at that damage. Thankfully, I made it through here unscathed, but I seriously need more shinies. I don't want nothing to do with any of you. I'm going to waste my hours shiny hunting instead. That is going to be my treasure, so leave me alone, you creeps. Now, I wasn't confident at all that Sunkern could defeat Katie, so I really needed a shiny Hoppip, thanks to its oh-so-good flying type. The easiest way to do this was to find a mass outbreak and knock out 60 Pokemon. Now, I didn't show it, but I didn't knock out the Hoppip with my Sunkern, as it would just get scared, and this isn't really battling. So I just used the shiny Dunsparce to knock out 60 Hoppip. Also, if we did do this, our Pokemon would definitely level over the cap. You can feel however you want about this, but I'm just being upfront with you guys. Regardless, once those 60 Pokemon were defeated and I did 12 picnic resets, we found Hoppip. That was super fast thanks to Speed Up, but even without Speed Up, it would have been fast. I named her Kawaii, and I love Hoppip Shiny. I also run Hoppip as a physical attacker since it gets Swords Dance, so this nature is great, and both of them have Chlorophyll, so I guess that's great. Now we just need one more thing to defeat Katie, and that's Aerial Ace, which is obtained by defeating 5 trainers in South Province 2. With this TM and maxing out Kawaii's attack stat, plus having a Sharp Beak attached, we can knock out both Nimble and Tarantula out in one shot, and this way we can tank a Fury Cutter from the Teddy Bear, allowing our Aerial Ace to finish her off in 2 shots. A little prep for that fight, but I didn't get lucky enough to get Flying Terra type on Hoppip. But yeah, let's celebrate with some muffins and a little game of catch. Alright, it's time to get back to work though. I evolved Bish into a Sunflora with a Sunstone I found, and although she's not that powerful later on, she is pretty cute. For now though, she is pretty powerful, taking out Cloth in 2 shots. Yes, you did a good job, Bish. Brassius is a little difficult because of Sudowoodo having Rock Throw, and even if we Terrastalize getting rid of our flying type, it still hits like a truck. Surprisingly, Kawaii couldn't even knock out Petalil in 1 shot, and this was with a Sharp Beak on her. But it didn't do much, and Smoliv was out next. I used Reflect to take less damage from Rock Throw, and then Smoliv used Tackle. From here, Synthesis went off to be a little more sure, and then after, an Aerial Ace takes out Smoliv. Now we should have 2 turns of Reflect left. We just need Brassius to not crit. So Kawaii terrestrializes to take less damage from Rock Throw, and he as well terrestrializes into a Grass type, and as you can see, Aerial Ace only does a third of his health. As always, Brassius uses Trailblaze instead of the more powerful move, but we're still faster, so 1 more goes off and he Trailblazes again. Now this could be bad if he Rock Throwed, however even at +2 speed, he doesn't outspeed unless he has a good nature, so adios Sudowoodo. We still outspeed because of max speed EVs and our jolly nature. Kawaii is now pink. God, I love it. Our next challenge was going to be the Titan Bombirdier, and yeah, that just sounds scary for our grass types. In fact, there's a good chunk of trainers that are out to get anybody who tries to do a grass type run in this game. So I definitely needed more shinies, a lot more. After doing some date skipping, I found this Capsicid outbreak and I started going to work with the shiny Vivian from earlier. Again, you can feel how you want about this, but like I said, if I were to use Skip Bloom here, it's gonna level over the cap. But yeah, by the end of this, Vivian was right at the cap and I began picnicking. Yeah, I went through an entire outbreak without a single shiny. The outbreak just kinda ended, and I'm not too sure why. I didn't knock out more than 60, and I spent 4 hours staring at my screen for nothing. I must have missed it somewhere, or maybe the outbreak just wasn't working, or maybe I was just straight up unlucky, but I'm really upset about that. Capsicid was definitely the encounter I wanted from a Sada Desert. The other 2 being Brambleghast, which is kind of mediocre, and Cacturne is actually really good, and can only be found in a Sada Desert, but Capsicid early on would have been better. I shortly after found a Toadschool outbreak, but this disappeared as well, and I have no idea why. I didn't even knock out more than 60. And this is where I was resetting like crazy. I kid you not, it took me hours of resetting to find another grass outbreak. All I could find was Flittle and Rufflet outbreaks. I guess they're more common? Finally though, 4 hours later, I finally found a Skiddo outbreak. I kid you not, after about 8 picnic resets, our shiny shined. I did like 130 for Capsicid and nothing. Nothing! There's no way right now. After hours of staring at my screen, we finally had a shiny, and man, is this a good one. However, I still don't feel confident taking on Bombirdier. I named her New Week. I have no idea if I'm saying that right, but I like it. Also, she had Sap Sipper. My luck was really turning around though. I found this Bramblin outbreak, and I can't make this up. 1 reset, it shined. It's right there. Bramblin isn't the greatest, and it was also over the level cap, so it was kind of useless right now. It also almost killed Bish. I named him Nick, and oh come on. Grass Terra? Alright, I guess I can't put off Bombirdier anymore as I'm slowly losing my mind resetting for outbreaks. I did come up with some cheeky strat, but I really don't know how this is gonna go. But anyways, if we go to South Province 5 and fight 7 trainers, we'll get into Violite, which will boost Skiddo's defenses since she's not fully evolved. We make sure we fight trainers we know we can defeat, as there actually are some pretty tough trainers here. And after, this guy will give us the item. Now we need the move Rock Slide, and it's on a cliff. Crap. Come on. Come on. Okay, this seems nearly impossible without the boosted jump feature. Oh my god, I got it! I got it! That's crazy! Alright, Skiddo can learn this move, and it's super effective against Bombirdier. We can also teach him Play Rough, which will do more damage, but Rock Slide has a chance to flinch, and Wild Charge is also an option, but we can't afford to take recoil in this fight, so this is what we are going with. Just look at it. I'm totally gonna wipe. Alright, on the off chance it does go for a Rock Throw, I terrestrialize into a Grass type and immediately go for Reflect as this monster gets a big wing attack off. I kinda just have to sack Kawaii here, so I go for a Charm, and you did not live on 1 Kawaii, there's no way. Okay, now we hard switch into Nuik, who can absolutely tank a Pluck. The following turn we manage to hit a Rock Slide, and we are not faster, which really sucks as we can't flinch, but those rocks do a ton of damage. Now since it's not doing much damage, I did risk a crit and use Synthesis. This way we can be a little bit more healthier, as we actually cannot heal between this fight and the second fight. 1 more Rock Slide, and that's the first battle down. It really sucks saying that, but luckily now we have Arven's Nakalai, which is also very useful. It was kind of obvious that Kawaii was supposed to die back there, so I just did the same thing to have a chance of winning, and this bird actually went for Torment, so Kawaii lives to see another day. I was going to use Kawaii for baton passing strats, and there's actually 2 more grass types that can learn baton pass, so losing jump up isn't like the biggest deal in the world. Now with a reflect up, I hard switch into Bish to essentially let Nakalai do all the work. She does take a brutal wing attack, but as you can see, Bombirdier is at half health. Now I hard switch into Nuik hoping for no crit, and thankfully it targeted Nakalai. We protect next turn so Arven can do all the work for us. Unfortunately, it didn't target him again, so I could have just rock slid, but it's whatever, and I was tempted to protect again, but I thought, what if Arven doesn't use Smackdown? So I went for a rock slide, and that's the frightening bird down. That could have set me back hours or days of hunting, so thank Arceus everyone's alive. Although, I'll be honest, the only one I wanted alive there was Skiddo. Sunflora is actually very slow, so. Now we have 3 Pokemon right now, and I just don't feel safe at all, so after a day on and off of resetting for mass outbreaks, we got this first try when I woke up. What a great way to start off the day. The big thing too is that this is a nuzlocke, so I have to catch them in places I haven't caught them before. I did have a specific way to catch them to get the most of our encounters, but it just won't work since I can't guarantee certain Pokemon in an area because most of them spawn in the same area. So I went off to go catch this pink creature, and I didn't even have to fight 60 of them. I fought 7 of them, and Vivian was not trying to murder our shiny. Isn't that crazy? I'm pretty sure that means this one was full odds, just like Bish. Oh shit. Oh my god. So I battled her, miserably failed to catch her in a heal ball, and caught her in an ultra ball. She was named Inky, and I was really hoping she had normal Terra type. She did, and now Mela seems a bit easier. Thank Arceus. Oh man, an adamant nature too. Next up is Giacomo, and for some reason I was thinking Mela was up next, but thankfully that's not true. However, it looks like we got a big warning shot with Sunflora almost dying to this Murkrow to one of the grunts outside. That would have been embarrassing. Now with our little shiny grass gang, we can take on Giacomo. Worth noting, I did not bring Skittle for this fight because he's very close to leveling up past the cat. I think we'll do fine without him though. So anyways, Giacomo starts with that Poniard, and Inky here can throw it back as they say and make the little guy faint at the sight of her. Once the Starmobile is out, I do actually switch to my Violet holding Kawaii, who can tank a Wicked Torque. Now she charms once as he uses Snarl, and one more as we use Reflect. I risk a crit to heal with Synthesis just in case I need to switch back in. From here, Bish comes in on a Snarl, which really blows, but regardless, we Terrasilize doing big damage at -2 special attack. I mean, seriously, Bish, that was great. Even at -3, we're doing tons. We just keep trying to chip away at this monster, and Giacomo did manage to snag 2 crits in between, and one was after he had used a nasty metal sound, harshly lowering our special defense. Thankfully, Giga Drain does heal us, and this was really close to KOing, but it just didn't. Also, that Reflect and Charm was so useless. I didn't expect him to just spam Snarl. Now, as long as he doesn't crit, this fight should be over, and it is. Good job, Bish. You are a bad Bish. That Miracle Seed really did put in some work. Iono is our final threat before the cap opens up again, and although she starts with a Wattrel, I'm not going to kill it to set up on something else since her Electric-type moves could paralyze us. So I'd rather bait pluck. So I start with Kawaii, who can get a charm off, and from here we can get an 8-turn Reflect, and as you can see, her plucks aren't doing as much as long as she doesn't crit. Now we get a Leech Seed off for some added protection, and hard switch into Nuik on a Pathetic Pluck, and with Leech Seed we are now full health. I have the Eviolite on her, and Nuik can start bulking up, and she safely gets up to +4 attack without a single crit. I did accidentally click Synthesis, but it didn't matter as Leech Seed will finish her off, and Luxio comes out with that Intimidate ability. From here, Luxio will die to a boosted Razor Leaf, and Bellibolt is going to be a 2-shot since he has good defense and HP. Now the unfortunate thing is, Miss Mages will outspeed us no matter what, so I definitely should have brought Trailblaze. It kind of just slipped my mind. The good news is we have Inky here, who happens to be part normal type. So we're not only resisted to Charge Beam, we're also immune to Hex, which we do come in on. She will confuse us again, but we break through for a Leech Seed. With her missing a big Charge Beam, we go for a cheeky Sand Attack strat, however Inky does hit herself in confusion. Luckily though, the next turn, Charge Beam did way less than I expected it would do, and Inky actually came through for a 4-hit Bullet Seed for the kill. I'm impressed, girl. I'm glad I didn't bring Trailblaze, to give you some of the spotlight. From here, I immediately start resetting for outbreaks because Mela on paper seems very scary. I quickly came across a Toad School outbreak in South Province 5, which was great, so we did our thing with this bug, and man, this took a while to find. The way the spawns were happening here were weird. Sometimes I'd get 2 spawning, other times I'd get 6, but that's about it. No more than 6 at a time on the screen. Eventually though, we did get this gray little guy. There it is. Finally. That took so long, man. Unfortunately though, you'd think the game would, for all our hard work hunting that, we'd get ground terra typing. But we didn't. We got grass again. But anyways, I named him Scott and I immediately evolved him into this beauty. That's a dope shiny. Speaking of evolution, I put some effort to jog around with Bramblin to get him to evolve. Or I guess roll around, not really jog. Look at this dead piece of... what do you call these things again? Now usually I don't fight the Titan before Mela, but in this run I actually do need to fight it first to access a TM for Mela. I don't know why I totally forgot Orthrum's ability, but I did, and yeah, I used a ground type move on him. And then when I switched into Nick, he almost died. Thankfully Kawaii was able to dodge some Iron Tails and Synthesis up, plus Reflect and Charm. I did have to wait for the Leech Seed to do its thing since I didn't have damaging moves on Kawaii. Thankfully the next fight we have Arvin's Toad School to help, and I actually led Kawaii to Reflect and Leech Seed. Everything went pretty well, except Orthworm taking up my time with his bullshit. Anyways, Nick was able to finish off the fight. Oh, come on! Now the reason I needed to be the Titan first was because I need to make my way over to All for Nada, and in order to do that, I need the high jump feature for Koraidon. Oh, Kawaii is evolving. Aw, it's adorable. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the only way to get to All for Nada is by going through this cave, which you need the high jump feature. Now we just jump off this cliff east of All for Nada, and here's the TM for Earth Power. This is obviously going to be given to Scott as Mela terrifies me. However, I feel like I came up with a pretty good plan. As you saw before, Scott doesn't have ground terra type, which would be great. However, Scott can learn a move called Reflect type, which will make us the same typing as the foe. In this case, a fire type, meaning we will be resistant to Torkoal and the Starmobile's fire type moves. We will lose stab on Earth Power, but this is worth it as we can take anything. The only bad thing about this move is because of Toadscruel's ability, we will move last, allowing him to get a sun-boosted Flame Wheel off. To avoid this, I have to lead Jumpluff with Rain Dance and Charm. This was kind of a mistake though, because Torkoal has Clear Smog, which can get rid of Charm's debuffs. So instead of Charm, definitely bring Reflect for this fight if you're doing this. Either way, we live getting a nasty Leech Seed off, and I do have a Damp Rock for 8 turns of rain. From there, I hard switch into Scott on a Clear Smog, and we can get health from not only Leech Seed, but leftovers. Now we tank a Flame Wheel, and for some extra protection, we Reflect type second. And Earth Power should KO from here, and it does. The Starmobile is up, and with 3 turns of rain left, and us being a fire type, this thing is nullified. This also happens to be a 3-hit KO with Earth Power, so right on the money. Although, even if rain did run out, we're a fire type now. I don't know if Reflect type was needed there, but it was cool to use. It just sucks that Scott's ability really nerfs him hard. We probably wouldn't have even need to use Jumpluff there. Guys, we have 6 shinies and we might as well admire them. Brambleghast, this is kind of awkward. Why the hell does Scott sleep like that? And why is everybody out cold? We have a league to defeat, guys. Speaking of which, Kofu was an easy sweep for Nick. It's probably one of the few times Nick will shine because it's just kind of mid. Nothing too special about it. But yeah, by terrestrializing our little ghost dead bush thing, all 3 of his Pokemon get bodied, especially with a loaded dice on him. Okay, hold on. How did we outspeed this Wug trio? That's insane. And Gooey will not activate to lower our speed since Bullet Seed doesn't actually make contact. So adios, Crabominable. That was way too easy, but hell, this team deserved a break. Since the cap opened up, the first thing I did was evolve Inky into a Sawsbuck, and look at this dex entry. The thicker the branches, the more majestic. You hear that, Inky? You're thick with 3 C's. Although that shiny is pretty lackluster. Nuik though, phenomenal. This is the embodiment of Ramos. Like when you look at a Go-Go, doesn't it just remind you of Ramos? Ramos here is actually key for this next threat. Yup, we got one little break and it's back to another challenge that is super effective against us. I didn't realize how brutal this challenge would be. Anyways, I led Kawaii to get both screens up for 8 turns. Atticus just went for a Venoshock followed by a Toxic. From here, I hard switch into Inky on a Venoshock. The good news is we can Terrasilize so that this Venoshock does less damage as we don't need Terrasalization on Nuik, which is going to be the one sweeping. Now, we get an Agility off. And after that, we just Baton Pass, and he actually just used Sucker Punch, which gets Nuik in here for absolutely free. Unfortunately, the Reflect I used was for nothing, but it's okay. I kind of figured it would make it to the end, but it's not going to. I did risk a crit for a Synthesis off, which was worth it, and now Light Screen is over. I did have a Pecha Berry in case it went for Toxic. At +2, all 3 of his regular Pokemon die to an Earthquake. You go, Nuweek. Now with that agility boost, we can outspeed for a big Earthquake on the Starmobile as he goes for a Flame Charge. This does mean he'll outspeed next turn, but as long as he doesn't crit, we should be fine. And we are, meaning Nuweek can destroy Atticus. A little luck there, but in Nuweek we trust. She is lucky after all. You know, lucky because she's a shiny, lucky, shiny, luck. I'll see myself out. Now, I did find a Breloom outbreak at the start of my recording session. It was the first reset. The only problem is that this is the last location left that has Eevee. I think Eevee outbreaks are a little rarer, so I think it's best to just stick with the Breloom, especially since I found it super fast, as Leafeon isn't totally lost since it can be found in Sakurai Trail if I do need one. Another thing is, if we do this Breloom outbreak, it has a chance of having Fighting Terra type versus Shroomish, who doesn't have a chance to even have it. Instead, we would be guaranteed Grass Terra type. So yeah, with that said, Vivillon goes back to work. This took a lot longer than I expected, considering the amount that we're spawning in, but in the end, it was all worth it for this orange guy. Or was it, since I got Grass Terra typing again? Come on, man. Adamant Nature again though. I'll take that. I named him Larva. Larva here can actually solo the next gym to no one's surprise. And he even told me the secret formula. The secret formula to defeat Larry, that is. Kamala has the move Yawn, so to easily prevent sleep, Larva is holding a Chesto Berry. As suspected, his Kamala uses it first turn, so we're able to get 2 bulk ups off, and Larry used it twice in a row. Larry must know he's completely fucked. Anyways, Kamala dies to a Force Palm. The Dunsparce as well, and this is the reason we're +2, since at +1, there is a chance it lives, although I could have just got the Brick Break TM. And of course, the pure normal type bird stands 0 chance against my mushroom. How the hell did it outspeed? And how did you live that, Larva? I don't like you. I always forget Staraptor is a speed demon with 100 base speed, and Breloom isn't. It probably outsped by a couple of points with our speed EVs. And I know you all know Larva put in the work against the Mona's team. It's a Breloom for crying out loud, especially since our effect Spore popped, putting Lycanroc to sleep. Now I was playing with fire here as Slash is a high crit move, but thankfully Meowscarada didn't crit through our defense boost. Definitely need to get the move Trailblaze right away. It can't learn it? Oh, that's just unfair, Game Freak. Bro, this man almost killed my 2 Pokemon. His Drifloon straight up self-destructed and Sableye Shadow Clawed on my switch in. Come on, man, they're shinies. They took a while to get. Now usually I just wing the Rhyme fight, but this time I knew I needed the Banette out of here since it has Icy Wind and that will lower our speed as well as being super effective. So with these 2 as our leads, we should be good. We break Mimikyu's this guy with Horn Leech, and then Larva can Terrasilize to one-shot the Banette. He had loaded dice, by the way. Now the next turn, a Horny Leech takes out Mimikyu. I'm not lying, I actually wrote that in the script, and Houndstone dies to a Bullet Seed. I think this is about the smoothest interaction I've had with Rhyme so far. Good job, you 2. Rhyme, get yourself some shinies. They do wonders. I mean, Larva here Terrasilize with the loaded dice does huge damage to Great Tusk. Easy money if I do say so myself. Is that? Yes, Jules. That's Shiny Weed. Whoa. You know, it's unfair that my shiny grass Pokemon are doing all the work, but Koraidon is getting all the food. Way to go, fat ass. This Nemona fight is usually annoying because Lycanroc has Sand Attack, so if we just get rid of that right now, we can set up on Sliggoo. I did Spore, but we will go second because of our ability, since it's status. I managed to set up to +2 with Growth before she woke up, and I just decided to hit her with Earth Power, almost knocking her out. She gets 1 more Dragon Pulse off, as the following turn, another one will KO her. I can't Giga Drain here since Sliggoo has Sap Sipper. Now with Palmot out, we get a nice crit Giga Drain to regain all of our health back. As for Meowscarada, it was a nice 2-hit KO. Finally, Scott was useful again. Speaking of being useful again, here comes Nick for Tulip. The only thing I have to do is Reflect and Tailwind plus Leech Seed for a useless precaution. Tulip did Reflect, so I stalled some turns out, as a Reflect is for 8 turns. And then we hard switch into Nick, who on the last turn of Tailwind can activate his Wind Rider ability for an attack boost. We do this because he has no setup moves, and I don't use Swords Dance Baton Pass until I get the recipe for it, which would be after we defeat Aerie. But yeah, a Bullet Seed will KO for Giraffe easy, and that's the last turn of her Reflect. From here, the rest of her team dies to a Phantom Force. I didn't think Nick would be useful, but here we are. Grusha is up next, and this was a scary fight since his Pokemon are of the Ice typing and they hit super hard plus have priority. Larva was obviously our pick for this fight, but since Frostmoth is part bug, our fighting type moves won't KO, and also it has Tailwind and Blizzard. The only way around this is to use Rock Tomb to fully KO it, and hopefully we won't miss. It in fact does not miss, and Frostmoth is out of here. Next up is Beartick, and it will of course go for an Icicle Crash, but we do outspeed to bulk up for a defense boost. That still scares me, so I did put a Yachi Berry on Larva, and we eat that up easy. At +1, Grusha is not stopping this monster. So Titan didn't even use Ice Shard, although we should have lived. Grusha, you really should have won that fight. I guess Shinies do have an edge over regular Pokemon. Now even with all our gyms defeated, we still have some people to face before the Elite Four. Ortega's up first, and I did grab the Sludge Bomb TM as Toadscrew can learn it. Yes, you heard me right. Scott is our man here. These Pokemon that I thought weren't going to do anything are actually doing something. Who needs a Leafeon? Larva can lead this fight because the move Worry Seed is actually going to be useful for once. Azumarill is scary since it has Bounce, which is obviously super effective, but by getting rid of its huge power ability, this thing is nerfed to the ground. Now all we have to do is hard switch in as he bounces, and reflect as he misses his bounce. Once that's done, I Leech Seed for some extra health every turn and hard switch Scott in on a bounce which didn't paralyze. I do have a Cherry Berry just in case. Now we just start growthing second, but he uses Charm. Ha, we're a special attacker, little boy. And he continues to do this as well. So once we're at +6, oh so very safely, everything dies on his team to a Sludge Bomb except for Azumarill, although of course it wouldn't have mattered. As for the Starmobile, we don't need any boosts. Scott is just that fast. Alright Scott, I gotta admit, that was kinda cool. But Breloom's Worry Seed came in super clutch there. Forgot to mention it, but Inky here did change forms, and although her shiny isn't much different from her base form, she's still very cute. She helped us with the Dragon Titans, and it was going well for Dondozo, but Inky here actually died to a Dragon Pulse from Tatsugiri. What? How the hell did you die, Inky? I was counting on you. I'm actually really sad about this, as this is our first death of the run, and she was a full odds encounter. Luckily with Nick and the Leech Seed Inky setup, the next turn, this was... Okay, you're just trolling me, little sushi guy. I'm so sorry, Inky. I should have been more careful with you. And with this, Bish is back on the team. Moving on to Aerie, the last team star leader, this fight scares me. And this is because she starts off with the poison type. So we 100% cannot set up on that, so Nuik here can lead and Earthquake that thing to Oblivion. Worth noting, I always put the cap at Hassle's Ace, so I'm not too strict on what level I am here, hence why Nuik is at level 58. This will let us knock out Toxicroak in one shot. Now Annihilate comes out because it not only has Fire Punch, but it has Ice Punch, and just in case she gets a freeze or a burn, I have a Lumberry. So we bulk up one time, and she uses Close Combat. Did a lot more than the other moves would've, but with her defenses lowered, a Hornleech should KO now with Terrestrialization, and there we go. Passimian is out next, and we can get another bulk up off as she does the same thing again, and Horny Leech takes that out. Since we're Horn Leeching, I figure we can get help from the Starmobile, so I get another bulk up as she Aura Spheres us. Now a Horn Leech might kill, but it might not, so I don't want to risk it and I just go for EQ. Looking back, I should have just KO'd Lucario right away in case of crit from Aerie since she outsped us. I really thought we would have outsped. Luckily though, we came out of this alive as Horn Leech was doing so much. By the way, I think that's the first time I see her use Combat Torque, at least on the first turn. Aerie is finally changing her ways of shift gearing over and over again. So why have you come to the Pokemon League, Jules? To show off and defeat all of you with my beautiful shinies. And you're up first, Rika. For the first time in like 2 videos, Rika didn't freeze us with Blizzard since she missed. Nice. But anyways, we can get a bulk up off, and with that we Trailblaze Wish Cash to get a speed boost. This is needed to outspeed Dugtrio. From here, everything proceeds to die to a Bullet Seed, no questions asked, and thankfully Bullet Seed is a multi-hit move, so this is down as well even with its sturdy. Poppy as well as a pushover thanks to Larva. By Terrastizing, we can avoid a super effective Play Rough, which didn't even happen since she Stealth Rocked, and at +2 with Swords Dance, everything dies. Literally. Copperajah dies to a Drain Punch, Corviknight dies to a Close Combat, which will lower our defense. Magnezone used Light Screen for whatever reason, my guess is stupidity, and Bronzong and Tinkaton both die to a Close Combat easy. Now as for Larry, thank God he led Tropius as this thing sucks. We can set up a Light Screen with Kawaii as Tropius has all special moves. He did Sunny Day, but we also have Chlorophyll and this lets us outspeed, which honestly, if no crit and he outsped, we'd be able to get Nuik in here for free. But yeah, after we Swords Dance and he crits us, so we can't Swords Dance twice. From here, we Baton Pass into Nuik. Now we just Trailblaze because Staraptor is a speed demon comparatively, and then we bulk up because Staraptor has Intimidate. With +1 in speed, we outspeed Tropius and begin our reign of terror. Everything dies to a Rock Slide from Nuik, who is holding a Wide Lens to not miss. Larry, I know you're a busy man, but you should spend more time shiny hunting. You might get lucky. Now Hassel was looking rough on paper, But can you believe New Week here gets access to Play Rough? Of course you do, I mentioned it in the beginning. The only problem with setting up on Hassel is his speed demon Noivern. This oversized bat frightens me and I can't just set up on it without taking heaping amounts of damage. The only thing I can come up with was baton passing a Sword Stance to New Week from Jump Bluff, but there's one more issue. Noivern has the ability Infiltrator, which will essentially let him bypass any screens that are set up. However, like we used previously with Ortega, we have access to the move Worry Seed, which will change his ability to Insomnia. So that's what we do. I go ahead and lead Bish, who can learn this move, and I don't mind losing her since she's super slow. She's kind of just like our little cheerleader. Girl, you were amazing, and you're the reason this run was even possible in the first place. She is holding a Kobo Berry in case, and for some reason Hassel went for Super Fang and missed. Come on, man, I'm trying to give her a noble death. Dragon Pulse, what are you doing, bro? By the way, Nick would have been a great option for this fight, but can you believe Air Slash isn't considered a wind move? Nick is immune to wind moves. But nope, Air Slash isn't a wind move. But don't worry, guys. Air Cutter is a wind move. Man, this game can go suck my dick. Anyways, from here we send in Kawaii, who can outspeed for an 8-turn light screen. His Air Slash didn't do anything, and now we Sword Stance. This time, taking a Super Fang. After all that is said and done, it is time to baton pass that into New Week, and he used Hyper Voice. Hassel's just straight up giving up at this point. After taking a Super Fang, I do Trailblaze, as there's some things on his team that are just a bit faster than our beautiful New Week. With that, New Week can Play Rough Noivern and Dragology comes out. I did bring EQ for this thing, and that's down. From here, everything dies to a Wide Lens boosted Play Rough. I've never used Gogo before this run, and man do I love her. One of my all-time favorites in a run. Although, I'm just saying, Sazbuk would have probably had an easier time here. I don't know what you're crying about, you big baby. I'm the one that lost a shiny, you inconsiderate piece of Gita. You got outsped by a spit-ups last time I saw you. So like, I doubt my shinies will have trouble with you. This fight is actually pretty simple. I've calced it down to the core. First off, Nick can be useful since Espathra is annoying to set up on because of Reflect and Lumina Crash harshly lowering our special defense every single time. But we can get rid of this Pokemon easy with Nick's Phantom Force, and luckily Gita didn't use Reflect, although we would have stalled out all the turns, I think. Now, I expected Avalugg to come out since it has Crunch, but instead King Gambit came out, which is also fine. I did have a Yachi Berry on Larva in case Avalugg did come out. But yeah, coming in on that Dark-type move, holy shit, we put it to sleep with a Spec Spore. Good stuff, buddy. Now we can get a nice Sword Stance off, and that's it. That's Gita. Again, I mean, why even bother showing it all? You guys know what happened. Now, I could go find another shiny, but I don't really feel like I need to for these wannabes. See, for Clavel, Jump Left just Sword Stance and Baton passed into Larva, as Oranguru was using Foul Play for some reason. Bullet Seed KO'd him, and I forgot Snow gave Abomasnow a defense boost, and I brought Mach Punch for Ice Shard, but I mean, I've played against Clavel before, and even though Ice Shard definitely sees a KO here, he probably won't use it. Yep, he didn't, so we use Brick Break for the kill. Houndoom dives to a Brick Break, and 2 Bullet Seeds take care of Poltegeist. And Aerial Ace obliterates a Mungus, and another Bullet Seed for Quaquaval. I always play risky in these last fights because I just try to have fun with them since we're already champion. Arven was a complete pushover. All we had to do was Sword Stance once, and the Brick Break will literally destroy everything on his team. Is Gita your mom, bro? I think you're confusing Sada and Gita. Penny was the exact same thing, and she even did big damage to where a quick attack kills us. But I just knew she wouldn't use it. You see what I mean? Okay, come on, Breloom is literally unstoppable in the post-game. Especially if he's shiny. I bet it just freaks them all out to see an orange Breloom. Nimona, you're so bad. Guys, I was traversing down to fight Professor Sada, and maybe 3 minutes into when I started recording, this happened. No! This is crazy! No way! And we were gonna do a Dragon Shiny only! No! Oh, the game's trolling me. The game knows. Yeah, that's insane, and it's even more fitting that I started this save file to shiny hunt dragons. So you know what? I'm gonna use Coincidence here for our last main fight, as it's very poetic. It's not a grass type, but I consider the run to be beaten anyways, and I usually don't care if I lose this fight because remember guys, games are meant to have fun. Also, he's green, so he's technically a grass type. I'm going to assume that she can sweep just fine, but we do get a little help from Kawaii. By reflecting and sword stancing our beautiful pink puffball, we can more safely set up on Sada. And by making Hydreigon a physical attacker, we can baton pass in late thanks to her using low sweep to lower our speed. And also thanks to the AI using Leech Life because of Leech Seed, we can get to +4 attack and +1 speed with Dragon Dance. This thing goes down easy, this screaming beach ball dies to a crunch, so does Brute Bonnet getting a nasty sucker punch off, but we live and it dies to a Terra Blast. Sandy Shocks as well, Flutter Mane to a crunch, And Roaring Moon gets a big Terra Blast. No, Jules, it's not over. You cheated and used a dragon type. What? I don't know what you're talking about. It's green. It's totally a grass type. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, go ahead and subscribe, as it took me a lot of time to make this, and let me know if you want to see more of these. Also, let me know who's your favorite shiny from this video and who's your favorite shiny of all time. Don't say it's coincidence. But anyways, bye guys.